Jason, the April results, I think, were better than what a lot of analysts and investors had expected. You had some live betting results, some Major League Baseball results, and certainly iGaming or online casino gaming has been good for you. Let's talk about the highlights of what you're seeing right now rather than the past quarter.
Well, right now, meaning, over the last 30 days or so, we're seeing real strength with both the NBA playoffs and acceleration on iGaming. Both have been really great over the course of April, and May has started strong too. So obviously helped by some really great games in the NBA, so hopefully that'll continue.
Yeah, MLB handle up 36% year on year, and the iGaming growth of 26%. I think when you look
live handle up 36%.
That live part
Regular
of this is
up 16.
I want to talk about that live betting because that part is we're seeing some of your competitors, for instance, Robinhood with predictions markets trying to get in on the sports action. And Vlad Tenev actually said on CNBC, look, we're really excited for the opportunity to offer this live during the games. Are you worried about the predictions markets and the competition to come?
I don't think so. I mean, first of all, if that ends up playing out in a way where it's an opportunity for us, that could be obviously a huge tailwind for the business. But as far as states that have legal sports betting, we haven't really seen any impact. I've definitely heard that, some of the hedge fund people are trading on those things in New York. So, maybe there a little bit. But I think for the most part, it's a bit of a different customer segment. And I think that for the type of bettor we have, it's going to appeal really more in states that don't have legal sports betting, less so in states that do have legal sports betting. But I do think there's an audience for it for sure, even in states with legal sports betting. And obviously, that's something that we're looking at and monitoring closely.
Let's talk about those customer-friendly outcomes. We saw it in the fall with NFL, and then the madness in March. You say that it was about $111 million impact to EBITDA, which is why you have revised guidance full year lower. Is there something structurally, something within the organization that needs to change to account for the volatility in game outcomes?
I don't think so. I mean, these last couple quarters have been real anomalies if you look at the overall last 5 or 6 years since there's been legal, actually now 7 years almost, since there's been legal betting in America. I think that these things just at some point happen, right? There are streaks that will happen with customers going on big winning streaks, and that's part of what makes the product fun. But at the same time, you have to remember, it's not like we lost money. It was just a slight variation off of what we forecasted. And those customers are still there. So over time, the LTV shouldn't change. It's just really a quarter-to-quarter thing. And it doesn't happen very often. As I said, we did get 2 in a row. Obviously, if we have another one, we'll have to really scratch our heads. But I don't expect that to be the case. I think for the most part, these things normalize over time.
2 things that you mentioned on the call, Jason, for headwinds. One is the fact that your lottery business, your online digital lottery in Texas called Jackpocket, has been shut down. Why is that an issue?
Well, it was an important state for us. It was, I think our second largest state in terms of revenue for Jackpocket. Now, Jackpocket is still a very small part of the overall business, so this is a bit of a rounding error. But Texas was probably one of the only handful of states that really could have made a big enough difference for the business that we felt like it was important to call out. Also because it was a visible thing that had a lot of press coverage, and we knew investors had questions about it. But overall, it's a pretty small impact in terms of the overall business. Obviously disappointing for that piece of our business since it's a real growth engine and we expect it to continue to grow. But, that's a setback, I think. There's still a lot of new states that are opening up and they're still growing quite nicely across the board in all the states they're operating in.
And the tax rate in Maryland is going up. There's been other states that have been toying with that idea. How much could that really hurt your margins?
Well, obviously, any tax increase isn't great. We do mitigate it through things like reduced promo and reduced marketing. So, depending on the magnitude of the increase, sometimes it isn't a really big deal because you can mitigate it. And it really depends on what it goes to, right? I think already, in most cases where Maryland is at 20%, there's quite a few states there already. It's not an egregious tax rate. So there could be a benefit in the sense of if some of the other states that are considering higher tax hikes see that, maybe they'll say, oh, well, Maryland did 20%. I think maybe we should stay at 20% too. So that's something that we look at as potentially a positive outcome. But obviously, any tax increase is going to have some impact on our margins. And, as noted, we put that in the guidance too. But it wasn't a huge amount of it either. It was by far the sport outcomes. Even if you take those two things you mentioned into account, we would have been raising guidance if not for the sport outcomes.
Jason, we're up at the end of the hour. Thank you for your time today. The share's up 1.5%, guys.